키토 다이어트가 체중 감량과 건강 개선에 이점이 있는 건 사실이지만 모두가 이 방식으로 다이어트에 성공하는 것은 아닙니다. 키토제닉 식단은 우리가 지금까지 먹어온 일반적인 식사 방식과 큰 차이가 있기 때문에 많은 오해를 낳기도 하고 적응에 실패하는 경우도 많습니다. 다른 사람들은 효과가 좋다고 하는데 유독 자신에게는 별다른 효과가 없는 것처럼 느낄 수도 있습니다. 캔베리 박사는 키토 다이어트를 해도 효과가 없다면 확인해봐야 할 것들에 대해 다음과 같이 설명합니다.
Is that many people's only experience with the ketogenic diet was a multi-level marketing company sold them some exogenous ketones and they signed them up so you'd get a new batch every month, and many of these companies told you could eat whatever you wanted and just take your exogenous ketones and that was keto and that would work. Obviously that's not going to work. Some of these companies tell you to lower your carbohydrate intake a little bit, but make sure and take your exogenous ketones regularly and reorder regularly. And it turns out that kind of keto is more about their business model than it is about your weight loss and health improvement. Many people fail keto because they thought that's what keto was, and that ain't what keto is.
우리나라는 미국만큼 키토 다이어트와 관련된 식품 산업이 발달되지 않았기 때문에 이와는 상황이 조금 다릅니다. 하지만 이것은 여러분이 어떤 다이어트를 하든 주의해야 하는 사항입니다. 수많은 다이어트 보조제들은 여러분이 그것만 먹으면 살이 빠질 것처럼 광고하지만 그런 일은 절대로 일어나지 않습니다. 식품회사에서 혁신적으로 보이는 다이어트 관련 제품을 계속해서 출시하는 건 회사의 수익을 위한 것이지 여러분의 살을 빼주기 위해서가 아닙니다.
The second reason is that many of the gurus in the ketogenic space early on when it was becoming popular advocated a keto diet that was very rich in vegetables, salads, and fruits. Thinking that, well, I mean, everybody knows that fruits and vegetables and salad, that's healthy. So, I mean, there you go. So they just kind of blended their old beliefs that you should eat 7 to 10 cups of salad a day. They blended that into this new trendy keto diet. And the problem with this is that if you're eating too many total carbohydrates a day, whether it's coming from jelly donuts or whether it's coming from fruits and salad and vegetables, you're not going to lose weight as fast as you want to. It's just not going to happen. And that for many, that's one of the reasons many people fail on what they thought was a ketogenic diet, but really wasn't. The number 3 reason is that people counted net carbs instead of total carbohydrates. And the food manufacturing companies, they love it when you do this because they can hide all kinds of carbs if you just count net carbs. A friend of mine, Kim Howerton, she's the ketonist. She actually did a little study on herself, and she found out that eating 20 net carbs a day, she could actually be eating over 100 grams of total carbs a day and still fall within 20 net grams a day. And so many people tried to count net carbs and keto just didn't work for them. It's been my experience that if you'll count total carbohydrate intake and keep it under 20 grams a day, keto works for everybody. Number 4.
키토 다이어트를 하는 많은 분들이 총 탄수화물에서 식이섬유와 당 알코올을 뺀 순탄수라는 개념을 사용합니다. 언뜻 보면 이것이 더 정확한 수치인 것 같지만 캔베리 박사를 비롯한 많은 전문가들은 총 탄수화물에 집중하라고 합니다. 여러분이 자연식품에서 순탄수 개념을 사용하는 것은 아무런 문제가 되지 않습니다. 하지만 많은 식품 회사들은 이 개념을 악용해 키토 다이어트에 친화적으로 보이는 제품들을 만들어냅니다. 키토빵, 저당 아이스크림, 단백질 쿠키 등 순탄수가 극도로 낮으면서도 놀라운 맛을 자랑하는 이런 가공식품들을 여러분은 주의해야 합니다.
4 is snacking. Again, the food manufacturers, the more you snack during the day, the more money they make, right? And so they're going to come up with all kinds of slim fast keto bars and keto shakes so that you can eat your 3 keto meals a day and then you can eat their 3 snacks in between. Again, it works great for their profit model, but part of the ketogenic way of eating is that you should eat enough fat and protein during each meal that you're not hungry in between. Anytime you snack in between meals, that's going to raise your insulin level. That's going to turn off your fat burning for hours. So you got to try not to snack on a ketogenic diet. And if you're getting enough fat and protein in your meals, that'll be much easier. Number 5 is preemptive eating. A lot of us bring our old habits to any kind of new way of eating. And so if you grew up in a house where you had breakfast at 8, lunch at noon, and dinner at 5, hair lip the Pope, then that's going to cause you a problem on a ketogenic way of eating. Because many people, as they really get enough fat and protein in their diet, they'll stop eating breakfast altogether, or they'll stop eating the evening meal altogether. This gives you a longer intermittent fast each day, and that the intermittent fasting is far and away the quickest and easiest and cheapest way to burn fat if you're trying to lose weight. And so thinking that you have to have breakfast every morning or your morning is just not complete, that caused many people to fail on a ketogenic diet.
선제적 식사는 간식과 비슷한 개념으로 과도한 배고픔으로 과식하는 걸 방지하기 위해 본 식사 전에 약간의 음식을 섭취하는 걸 말합니다. 하지만 조금씩 자주 먹으면 배고픔이 조절되기 때문에 다이어트에 도움이 된다는 건 잘못된 상식입니다. 여러분은 평소보다 고기를 많이 먹으면 배부름이 오래가는 걸 느껴보셨을 겁니다. 실제로 충분한 지방과 단백질을 섭취하면 혈당을 급등시키지 않으며 포만감 호르몬을 자극해 배부른 상태가 오랫동안 지속됩니다. 그래서 키토 다이어트를 할 때는 일반적으로 두 끼를 먹습니다. 따라서 의도하지 않아도 자연스럽게 간헐적 단식을 하게 되고 지방 연소를 더욱 활성화할 수 있습니다.
Number 6 is undiscovered, undiagnosed hormone problems. Many people have undiagnosed hypothyroidism or low thyroid. Many people have undiagnosed adrenal hormone issues. Many people have undiagnosed and untreated sex hormone problems. And if you have a low thyroid, if you have low testosterone, if you have low progesterone, if you have problems with your adrenal hormones, it's going to be very difficult to lose any weight and keep it off, even if you're eating a proper human diet, a keto diet, a carnivore diet. And so if you're one of these people and you are like, no, dude, I was doing keto right, I just didn't lose any weight, then it's time for you to find a low-carb doctor near you who can check all your hormones and find out the undiscovered hormone problem that you might very well have that kept you from succeeding on keto.
이런 호르몬 문제는 남성보다는 여성에게서 많이 나타나는 것 같습니다. 갑상선 검사는 일반 병원에서도 할 수 있지만 캔베리 박사가 언급한 종합적인 호르몬 문제를 검사하고 진단할 수 있는 병원은 국내에 많지 않으며 저 또한 이런 검사를 받아본 적은 없습니다. 하지만 일부 기능의학 병원에서 이런 검사가 가능한데요. 기능의학회 사이트에는 기능의학 의사가 속해 있는 병원을 검색할 수 있는 기능이 있습니다. 설명란에 링크를 남겨놓을 테니 필요하신 분들은 확인해 보시기 바랍니다.
Number 7 is expecting immediate results. Now, you know it's true. We all grew up in the sitcom era where all problems are addressed and solved within 30 minutes. Many of us are impatient. I'm one of those, but we expect results. I've got so many messages from people on my YouTube videos saying, hey, dude, I've been doing keto for a week now. Nothing's happened. Yeah. So it took you years to get into the metabolic state that you're currently in. It might take many weeks, many months before you undo that metabolic damage and move all of your hunger hormones, your satiety hormones, your fat burning and fat storage hormones back into the right position by eating a proper human ketogenic diet. So if some people have immediate results, that's true, and I know that's not fair, but that's just how life is. My grandmother told me life isn't fair, and I think she was right. But if you do keto long enough, you are going to see results. They may be slow, but they are real and they will be true to you. The next problem that causes many people to fail on keto is that their weight loss stalls. And after a few days or a few weeks of this lack of weight loss, they just give up on keto. What you have to understand is that it's very natural, it's normal for someone when they're losing weight very quickly for their body to put on the brakes and say, whoa, why are we losing all this weight? Is something wrong? Are we starving? What's going on? This is normal. Every human body does this. If you don't know that key piece of information, then you think, well, I guess I failed on keto. I'll go try the next diet. It's very common on any diet, but even on a ketogenic way of eating, to have your weight loss stall for a few weeks, even a few months. That does not mean you failed. That does not mean you should give up. That means that you should continue to eat a proper human ketogenic diet. The weight loss, when your body is confident that everything is copacetic and okay, no problem, you'll start to burn fat again. I've seen this many times. I've had a few friends who've had a weight loss stall that was a year long before their body finally decided it was safe to burn more fat. The ninth reason that I've seen why people fail keto is that they don't understand the keto flu. They don't know what it is. And so when they cut the carbs out of their diet, they'll start to have what the mainstream media calls the keto flu. And some articles have been written saying this is even dangerous. It might be ketoacidosis. We don't know. You should just stop eating keto. What the keto flu actually is carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms. For many of us, carbohydrates are quite habit-forming, if not addictive. And when you take that habit away from us, we can have literal withdrawal symptoms. And if you'll Google the withdrawal symptoms of stopping smoking or stopping alcohol and compare those signs and symptoms with what you experienced with the keto flu, you'll be surprised to see that there's very much overlap between the signs and symptoms of withdrawing from alcohol or tobacco and withdrawing from carbohydrates. Having the keto flu does not mean that you should give up on keto. It means that you really need to stick to keto until you break this carbohydrate addiction. On the other side of that addiction is the health and the weight loss you've been looking for.
여기서 제가 드릴 수 있는 조언은 단기간 몸의 변화에 너무 민감하게 반응하지 마시고 우직하게 키토제닉 식단을 지속해보라는 것입니다. 여러분은 살이 빠지는 수많은 요인 중에서 식사 방법 한 가지를 바꿨을 뿐입니다. 그러니 똑같은 식단을 해도 결과는 모두에게 다르게 나타나며 이것은 너무나도 당연한 현상입니다. 이와 관련된 내용은 오른쪽 상단의 관련 영상을 참고하시기 바랍니다. 저는 처음에 이 식단을 할 때 결과에 대한 기대보다는 걱정이 앞섰습니다. 정말 이렇게 먹어도 괜찮은가 하고요. 하지만 실제로 해보니 탄수화물이 없이도 충분히 만족스러운 식사를 할 수 있다는 걸 체감할 수 있었고 그 이후에는 더 자신감을 가지고 키토 다이어트를 지속할 수 있었던 것 같습니다. 이렇게 키토 다이어트 초기에는 결과에 대한 집착보다는 지속성에 더 중점을 두고 해나가세요. 너무 뻔한 말이지만 올바른 방법으로 지속하다 보면 결과는 자연스럽게 따라올 것입니다.
The 10th reason that I've seen people fail keto is that they bring their old knowledge with them and they're very afraid of saturated fat. They are convinced, even though they're going to try keto, that somehow saturated fat is the devil, it's bad for you, it's unhealthy. And so they just don't eat enough fat in a ketogenic diet. So they cut the carbs, and what they wind up doing is eating a very high protein, moderate to low fat diet, which can be ketogenic, but is not very tasty, is not very pleasurable. It's not a great joy to eat a diet that's high in protein, low in carbs, and low in fats. And many people, after a few days of this, they say, I just can't do keto. What they don't understand is that wasn't really keto anyway. Fat is a blessing from the Creator. You should have fat in every meal you eat. You should have plenty of fat. Fat is not dangerous. Fat is your friend. And then number 11, the reason that I see people fail keto is that they bring knowledge with them from previous diets. And this false knowledge that they have is that salt is bad for them. And so they don't use enough salt. And I recommend Redmond's Real Salt because it has lots of sodium and chloride. It has no microplastics or nanoplastics. It also has trace minerals included in the salt. Many people get cravings for junk food if they don't eat enough salt in their diet and don't get those trace minerals. Many people notice that they're hungry all the time if they don't get enough salt and these trace minerals in their diet. And for many people, after a few days of being hungry constantly, they just give up on the diet. Now, these are the most common 11 reasons that I've seen that keto didn't work for somebody.
많은 사람들이 소금은 고혈압의 원인이며 고기의 지방을 많이 먹으면 혈관이 막힌다고 생각합니다. 이 외에도 키토 다이어트를 하다 보면 일반적인 다이어트 상식과 상충되는 지점이 많아 혼란스러울 수 있습니다. 특히 주변 사람들의 조언은 이 다이어트를 더욱 힘들게 합니다. 일반적인 시선으로 봤을 때 키토 다이어트는 상당히 비상식적이고 위험해 보일 수 있습니다. 하지만 여러분이 일반적인 다이어트 식단이 아닌 키토 다이어트를 하기로 한 이상 그런 것은 그냥 웃어 넘길 줄 알아야 합니다. 키토 다이어트는 과학적으로 충분히 검증되었을 뿐 아니라 인간에게 훨씬 자연스러운 식사법입니다. 인류가 수백만 년 동안 먹어온 동물의 지방과 소금이 위험한 음식이라면 우리 인간은 지구상에서 살아남지 못했을 것입니다. 키토제닉의 관점에서는 안전에 대한 검증이 제대로 이루어지지 않은 식물성 기름, 건강보다는 이윤 추구를 목적으로 만들어진 수많은 가공식품들이 훨씬 위험한 음식입니다. 여러분이 키토 다이어트를 꾸준히 잘 해내서 살이 빠지고 건강해지면 사람들이 오히려 그 비결을 궁금해 할 것입니다. 그러니 기름진 고기나 곱창, 대창을 소금장에 푹 찍어서 맛있게 드세요. 쫀득한 도가니탕에 소금 팍팍 쳐서 국물까지 쭉 들이키는 것을 두려워하지 마세요. 이상한 다이어트였습니다.